Brought to you by Wingstop.
This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Coming at you live in the heart of Lincoln, America.
I say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
On air and online at theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Another Monday, another frustrating weekend in Husker football, but maybe to different degrees for other, different people. I was actually a little bit came away with that game thinking, hey, they put in a good effort. They almost won that game against a Minnesota team that's usually pretty darn good. Husker Nation disagrees with me. They're pretty frustrated and going after Mark Whipple. But that's fair enough. We'll get into that too. Plenty of stuff going on today, though, too. We always want to start. This is the Ticket Water Cooler here on 93.7 The Ticket. We're here from 12 to 1 for your lunch hour every day of every weekday, at least. And so we usually like to start letting you know what's kind of going on today and what the latest news is. Of course, it's a big day for Nebraska sports. Nebraska basketball gets going tonight against Maine, who was not very good last year. Nebraska women's basketball gets going. Well, they got going 10 minutes ago. They're already going. They're
out to a fast start already. They are currently up 12-0 in the first quarter against UNO. And Jazz Shelley with 3 points. Izzy Borden leading the way so far with 7 points. Allison Widener with 2 points. Alexis Markowski just got a block against UNO, so that brings Nebraska's total up to 2 blocks, 4 rebounds. They're just all-around effort. Currently, UNO is 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3.
That's some suffocating defense. Maybe Nebraska can get the shutout there. Not likely in basketball, but I do like when Nebraska women's basketball the last couple of years have been able to press 100. I mean, getting 100.
Your 22nd ranked women's basketball team, Nebraska.
Yeah,
pretty nice right there.
That's pretty cool. Like we said, Nebraska basketball gets going tonight, as well as basically the rest of the nation. Everybody's playing their warm-up games. Maine hopefully is that. Nebraska, remember, lost their opening game last year, really put a damper on the season and never got back up. So hopefully they can beat Maine tonight. I expect to see that. And it'll be interesting to see if Derek Walker's out there. So there's kind of some storylines to follow there. Big news nationally is that Frank Reich has been fired as the Colts head coach. Jeff Saturday, of all people, is stepping in to be their interim coach. Of course, your Patriots may be ultimately the final nail in the coffin for Frank Reich, because they won 26-3 over the Colts yesterday. And so
take that, Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan's probably not too happy today, or maybe he is. A lot of at some point you might want some change.
I don't know if he is or not. I don't know. I feel like Frank Reich wasn't a bad coach. He's been dealt a bad hand. I mean, Phillip Rivers was actually a pretty solid quarterback for them last year, and then this year they bring in Matt Ryan, and for one reason or another, he is no longer the starter. You bring in Sam Ehlinger for the past 2 games, and he's not the savior. I don't know if you thought he was going to be, but he's not. So I don't know exactly what's up with the Colts or what they're planning on doing, but so far, not working.
Yeah.
And you get rid of your coach and you name Jeff Saturday your interim head coach, who, if you're wondering, as I was, is Jeff Saturday on the coaching staff? No, not really. He was like a special assistant consultant for the Colts.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? Take over.
That's what we need. Are they tanking? Are they?
Definitely tanking. I don't know who they're tanking for.
Yeah.
Like who would you go? Who's the quarterback that you go after?
Well, right now that's part of the fun too. Football was awesome this past week. A lot of stuff going down, but it was Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, both them. Bryce Young actually had some amazing plays there, but they still lost to LSU.
Couldn't get it.
Is he still that top name? CJ Stroud really struggling in the air, especially in a windy day.
Mm-hmm.
But in Evanston against Northwestern, I mean, that's a bad team.
21-7.
The Nebraska streak, by the way, continues. Illinois loses the week after beating Nebraska.
We're still good. Oh, I found a game that's actually worth it. Maybe not. Memphis Vanderbilt at 7.
Is that basketball tonight?
Yeah, that's the only power. Memphis is what are they in?
The AAC? The American, I think. Yeah,
the American. Do you consider that? No, it's not a power conference.
Yeah, but Memphis is a name, and I mean
Memphis is a name. There. So we'll go Power 6. They play Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's Lehigh plays Syracuse. We know Lehigh, I guess.
Yeah. They're not doing that. Like, did they do that? It seems like it's been a few years since they did the 48 hours straight of basketball or whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't think
they
that's
used
happening.
to do. I liked that.
Well,
was fun.
there's basketball on from now until 10:59 is when the last game starts. Tulsa at Oregon State.
And not one game that you're interested in watching other than Nebraska.
No, there's nothing with a Power 5, Power 6 opponent versus another Power 6 opponent. There was like Navy versus somebody, but even then, no. Like nothing great going on.
College basketball just knows its place in the sports calendar.
Yeah.
Like
UNO plays
we're not trying
Kansas.
to get anything.
I mean,
I didn't notice that.
If that North Dakota State plays Arkansas,
and there usually
Sam
is
Griesel-less.
a few upsets here and there in these type of games that
I
we'll
don't see
definitely
it.
talk about tomorrow.
I don't
know which
anything
games
happen.
to find.
There's really nothing. Air Force plays Bowling Green. That's the other, Division I power conference. I don't know, man. There's nothing great going on.
Yeah.
Just watch your teams. Mississippi Valley State is currently playing Baylor. Brescia University playing Middle Tennessee, and Kansas Christian playing Prairie View A&M. Those are the 3 men's games that are currently on.
Prairie View A&M, isn't that we had a Husker transfer there before?
Did we?
I think we did.
I don't know. I couldn't. Oh yeah. It was a point guard, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like
Wasn't it triple double? The first triple double in men's.
Cam Mack, didn't he go to Prairie View?
I think he did.
I think he did too.
The women's games. There's a lot of games live right now. Nothing great. UNO, Nebraska. That is something. Other than that, nothing else. Cleveland State, Iowa State, Delaware State, Michigan State, and then teams that don't even have logos facing other teams.
Well, that's beautiful. That's what I love about college basketball is there's at least enough teams that you've never heard of several of them, and that's always pretty fun, especially when the tournament.
Do you want to? Southeast Missouri State is hosting St. Louis Pharmacy.
St. Louis Pharmacy.
It's a St. Louis Pharmacy. Do you want to know what Southeast Missouri State's arena is called?
What's that?
The Show Me Center.
In
Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Sounds like they'd book a few different events at the Show Me Center.
Show Me Center playing St. Louis Pharmacy. Why you got to beat up on the pharmacist like that? What are you doing?
It's just like the pharmacy team from Walgreens is taking the day off. Yeah, let's go play some basketball.
Yeah, something like that. Nebraska currently up. I'll give you a little update. Nebraska currently up with about 2 minutes 20 seconds left in the first, 18-7. So they've allowed some shots to fall. But UNO is only shooting 17% from the field, while Nebraska is shooting 67%. So,
yeah,
a little bit of a difference.
What was your favorite part of the football weekend? Was it the NFL or the college?
Didn't really have a favorite after Nebraska lost. That one kind of put a damper on the rest of my day.
You let that ruin a great day of college football?
Well, not really. I was at a wedding all day.
Yeah.
But honestly, Alabama losing and then finding out that the AP poll still has them 10th made me extremely angry.
But that's what's beautiful. And we'll get to more Nebraska stuff here.
It's not beautiful, Bach.
Alabama, well, the fact they're 10th, whatever.
The regular season doesn't matter now.
No, the regular season still matters.
No, it doesn't. They have 2 losses.
Yeah, so
and
does LSU.
But if things happen if things happen and people don't take care of business, somehow Alabama's going to be in the playoff more than likely.
Well, they'd be the first 2-loss team in the playoff. But that's what's exciting is like the field's open. It's not going to be Alabama this year. And of course,
it might be.
It's not going to be Alabama. This is what the problem with why you get so frustrated with this thing is.
Why are they 10th? They lost twice.
Well, LSU lost twice, and they're ranked ahead of them.
Twice in the last 3 weeks. Why are they 10th?
Because they lost to Tennessee and LSU, 2 top 10 teams.
I don't care.
Well, that's why
you lost twice. You should not be in the top 10. If they were 14th, it's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. You can still be top 15. You're not top 10. Not with 2 losses. And LSU lost early, and then they crawled their way back. I don't know how they got all the way up there, but they did somehow, which I don't agree with either. But they crawled their way back up there. Now they're a top 10 team with 2 losses as well. I don't know, man. It's just disgusting.
It is, and I mean, it can be frustrating because the SEC bias is still there. But I always go back to the fact that the SEC bias is real. The SEC is the best conference, so that's why maybe I'm one of the bad guys. But
No, you're not a bad guy,
they
but it's
win every year in the
doesn't
national
matter.
championship when you put a bracket together. So I respect that conference.
Just
a little
because
bit
you
more.
play in the best conference doesn't make you the best team. There is a best team in that conference. Just because you play in it doesn't make you better
Who's
than
been
everybody
the
else.
best stream at least? I don't know
Alabama.
how far this goes back. The last 3 years.
The last 3 years, Alabama.
Alabama, Georgia, LSU.
Not
Three
LSU.
different teams winning national championships.
Okay, good for them.
Okay, so that's why the benefit of the doubt is going to go to in the SEC. If there's a predominant team that's dominating that conference, then maybe they're going to be the best team in the land.
Disgusting.
Tennessee certainly didn't look like it. They were ranked number 1 in the initial college football playoff poll, lose between the hedges to Georgia, the defending national champions. That was quite the game. Clemson loses to Notre Dame in by big fashion. It's kind of funny too. We all pile on Notre Dame and LSU, the new coaching hires. They didn't immediately look the greatest, and then it takes half a season, and both of them get monumental wins.
Just, surprise.
Maybe a reminder that maybe week 3 is not a time to denounce the hires of the offseason the previous season.
Nope, that's the perfect time to do it. As soon as they lose a game, that's the perfect time to do it. I don't know, man. Like Clemson. Okay, this is my thing. Clemson was ranked higher than Alabama before Saturday night. Clemson lost to Notre Dame, who's also a top 25 team. That's also a solid team.
Just got in. They were unranked in the weekend.
Doesn't matter. Are they in the? Yeah, they're 20th.
Yeah,
all
they're
right?
ranked now. Yeah,
they're 6-3.
Yeah.
Okay, they lost to Notre Dame, who is now ranked. Whatever. And
they dropped not a close game, by the way.
They dropped 7 spots, whereas Alabama only dropped 4 with their second loss. That's Clemson's first loss on the season.
Right.
Their only loss this season, and they dropped 7 spots, whereas Alabama is like, oh, that's your second loss, your second one in 3 weeks. You're only going to drop 4. We'll keep you in the top 10 just in case.
Clemson got shellacked by an unranked Notre Dame team. That's the difference there.
They lost to a Notre Dame team with only 3 losses.
Yeah, but you're like,
whereas Alabama lost to an LSU team with only 2 losses. That's one loss more. You still lost, and it's the second time you lost in 3 weeks. No, that's Notre Dame's, or that's Clemson's first loss. I don't care if it was a shellacking. That's your only loss of the season. You shouldn't drop lower than a team who has 2 losses, who lost in the same weekend as you.
It's not. This is not one man voting. This is.
It's not.
A lot of people putting their minds together, thinking
it's idiotic.
If Alabama and
all
Clemson
of those people
stepped
are dumb
on the field today, they'd still favor Alabama.
All of those people are dumb.
Okay.
All of them. None of them know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. It should just be the Rico top 25.
It should be. It would pretty much look the same, except Alabama would be lower than Clemson.
And things are. And remember, I'm glad that it took all of 1 week for everybody's theories that, well, if Clemson and Ohio State and Michigan and Georgia and Tennessee and all these teams go undefeated, what is the college playoff football going to do? Well, look what's happened. It's already pretty much cleared the way.
There we go. Michigan finally gets their rightful place in the top. Well, maybe, what is it? Tomorrow is when it comes out, the college football playoff. So Michigan gets their rightful place in the top 4 of the college football playoff, so we can all be happy. TCU is going to be up there, hopefully, more than likely, unless they decide, you know what, I still like Tennessee in the top 4, which would just be ridiculous. So we'll see what happens. Oregon in the top. I'm just going 8 people. Oregon, number 6 currently. LSU number 7, which is weird. Again, like you said, you can't, knock them out after week 3, but they looked terrible the first couple of weeks of the season. USC, another team that I didn't know was 8-1 because everybody was talking bad about Lincoln Riley.
At 9:30.
They're number 8. UCLA number 9. That's weird. Two future Big Ten teams in the top 10, and then Alabama, which shouldn't be there, at number 10. Ole Miss didn't even move. They're at 11.
Yeah,
Alabama should be below Ole Miss.
Maybe they're going to play still, so we'll kind of see how that plays out.
Ole Miss is 8-1.
But also a reminder that once you go to the 12-team playoff, none of this really matters at all throughout the season. You're going to be focusing on who has 3 wins and 4 wins.
We're going to be focusing on who's number 13 and 14. Well, really, currently, right now, there's only 2 teams in the top 12 with 2 losses. So
it's just going to kill the regular season.
It's not going to kill the regular season.
Alabama was just knocked out for the first time in modern college football playoff history. This is the earliest they've basically
we'll
been
see. As
all
you
but
said,
eliminated.
You still have time for the regular season to shake out.
Yeah.
Watch. Alabama
A
finds
two-loss team
Alabama
has
finds
not
their way
gotten
in.
If there is a two-loss team that will get in, it will be Alabama. I'll give you that.
Alabama made it in with 2 wins. They didn't win the title. They made 2 losses. They made it in.
No team's made it in with 2 losses. The college football playoff yet.
Okay.
And I think, but again, that's what made college football special. It's like that moment to me. LSU going for 2. There's all the 2012 championship thing over again with Brian Kelly, and that was kind of cool. But ultimately, it's like, okay, at any point you can get knocked out of the playoffs. Once we go to 12-team playoffs, it's just like, Alabama's probably still safe. They're fine, and they'll get in the playoff and they'll win it, and then there you go.
Well, the fact that they're sticking at 10 is a reason. Again, this is the AP poll. It's not the college football playoff. We'll see where the college football playoff puts them because that's the real determining factor for who gets in, obviously. So we'll see. But right now, your top 4 for the AP poll: Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU.
Let's go to the Sauter Heyman text line. You guys have been speaking up here.
Active.
402-464-5685. We'll run through them all. Horny for Huskers says Shenander gets fired due to his defense getting shredded week after week. Why shouldn't Whipple be let go due to horrible play calling week after week? That's a lot of turnover, a lot of change.
That's a lot.
You fire the head coach, the defensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator in the span of the first 9 weeks. That'd be a lot.
I don't want to make it like a thing about, experience or anything, but on the offensive side of things, who would you have calling the offense if you were to let go of Whipple? I don't know who it would be. I don't think it would be Mickey because I don't know if he wants to put that burden on himself to be the head coach and call the offense. Whereas on the defensive side of things, you had Bill Bush, who's called defenses before.
Defensive coordinator.
So you had a guy who knew exactly what he's doing and knew how to take care of things. So that was something that you weren't really not afraid of, but scared of going to after you let go of Shenander. Whereas on the offensive side of things, I don't know who's going to take over offensive play calling if you fire Whipple. Now, you shouldn't be afraid to make a change if it is that bad, but if you, and I know nobody wants to do the ifs and buts and what ifs, whatever.
Candy nuts.
Yeah. But look, if you have Casey Thompson in that Illinois game, I think that maybe you're a lot closer. But if you have, I definitely believe if you have Casey Thompson in this Minnesota game, you win this game. And I understand you have to change your offensive play call, and he should be more experienced, and he's been in the game for a long time. He should know how to call an offense for a different quarterback. But he has this whole offense built around Casey Thompson and Trey Palmer and all the other weapons that he has that, he had a week to implement something different for a more athletic quarterback. It should have been done. It wasn't done, but I don't think that you fire him after this. I mean, you're going to get Casey Thompson back. This Michigan game is going to be very probably not interesting, but the next 2 after that, there's a chance.
And what's the upside in making a change now? You're all but not eligible to get to a bowl game. It wouldn't be a
unless
good look
something
for
crazy
Nebraska.
happens.
Yep, crazy things could happen. We'll see. We'll take a quick break. We appreciate you guys' response here on the text line, so we'll get more to your texts coming up next year. So plenty to go through what we're talking about there with the SEC, the top 10, all that, and of course the Nebraska game. I want to get more into whether play calling was the biggest issue in that game. We'll do that coming up next year on the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 The Ticket.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bakoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Clothiers, and Brant Excavate.
You had to know that when Wingstop set out to make a crispy, juicy chicken sandwich, they wouldn't make it in just one flavor. They'd make it in all 12, like lemon pepper, mango habanero, hickory smoked barbecue, and OG hot. So why have one new favorite chicken sandwich when you can have 12? Try the new sauced and tossed Wingstop chicken sandwich today for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Valid for a limited time and available at participating Wingstop locations only while supplies last. Price subject to applicable taxes and fees.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the Ticket crew live from Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Brought to you by A1 Automotive, Mullen Motors, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Bauer Underground, Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group, and Ritchie Brothers.
Tractor Supply is looking for full-time team members for their Waverly Distribution Center. Tractor Supply has a new progressive pay model where team members receive 5 wage increases in the first 2 years of employment with the ability to earn up to $24 per hour. Applicants can expect a 3- and 4-day work week schedule with additional overtime days with both day and night shift schedules available. At Tractor Supply, they work hard, have fun, and make money. Apply today at tractorsupply.jobs.
Hey guys, Nick Sadert here, and I want to tell you about my friends at Spine and Sports Chiropractic. I experienced a herniated disc in my lower back a few years ago, and thanks to the folks at Spine and Sports, I got back to feeling 100%. At Spine and Sports, they use the active release technique, which involves the soft tissue and can alleviate headaches, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, and more. What I like most about the ART method is that your doctor will construct a plan that fits your needs because the technique is not a cookie-cutter approach. Allow Spine and Sports Chiropractic to help you feel better. Set up your appointment today by giving them a call at 402-261-6841.
Get an immediate look back at the game from the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word. Live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy Veterans Day. We are thankful for those who served our great nation and gave their lives to defend this country, which should never be taken for granted. This important message comes to you from Bart, Mike, and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialist here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Rashawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go big Red.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Your Lincoln forecast today, mostly sunny skies and windy. We'll see an afternoon high of around 55. Tonight, increasing cloud cover. We'll be staying windy, though, with a low of around 42. And tomorrow, a chance of showers, and it'll be windy again. Temperature's much warmer, though. We'll see a high of around 71. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler. Brought to you by Wingstop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Clap.
We are back here on the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 The Ticket. We're clapping for some reason.
Clap.
But it was a good time to clap.
Thank you.
Here on the Ticket Water Cooler, plenty of stuff to kind of break down. A great weekend of football. We were talking about kind of the SEC bias and things that go into that. Of course, Nebraska falling short to Minnesota. So we'll get into that discussion and just kind of follow where you guys are going here on the text line because we got a flood of texts I wanted to get to. Eric said, did you really just say Minnesota's not a bad team? They're terrible. Well, are they bowl eligible? They're 6-3, I think.
Seems pretty good to me.
That's not too
I'd
bad.
take that.
Yeah.
They're not
overwhelming.
They're not terrible. They're not great.
No.
They are good.
Yeah.
They are a good team.
Yeah, and I mean, again, they're not overwhelming. They've kind of had the same play style like that for years. Like you said, I mean, you kind of feel if Casey Thompson was in that game, maybe they'd win that one. But Minnesota, again, almost beats you ugly by design. So, I mean, if Casey was in that game, who knows? Maybe they, pass the ball a little bit more, have more success through the air, and throw a few interceptions.
There were so many times where you had a wide receiver open, or at least, if you launch it down the field, they would have been open. But neither of your quarterbacks really has the arm strength of Casey Thompson to get it down the field. On one of the passes, Trey Palmer had to come back and play defense to avoid the pass being intercepted. So that's kind of what I mean by if Casey Thompson would have played, maybe you see, I truly believe that they win this game against Minnesota because I think you score more than 13 points. And like I said to you in the pregame show on Saturday, the first team to 21 wins the game. Neither team got to 21.
Yeah.
But it seemed the same way where if Nebraska can just figure out a way, when they're up 10-0, they could have figured out a way to score one more time. It felt like it was almost insurmountable with the way their defense was playing before the offense just kind of sputtered to a standstill with 6 straight 3-and-outs.
And it's weird. I mean, I think every quarterback in that game, and there were 4 of them. It's weird that you see a game with 4 quarterbacks.
Yep.
None of them could hit the deep ball in stride, and I think they all had pretty much an opportunity to do so. And it was, it's just that kind of game, and that was part of the game too. Was Kalak Manis came in the game, hit the deep ball twice to Daniel Jackson of Minnesota. Nebraska tried to get the same thing here and there, and they didn't get that. So again, and especially in a one-possession game, there's a lot of things to break down, but that was one thing that Minnesota did get that Nebraska didn't. So the rest of the college football weekend kind of went on. We'll go back to the text line. Kirk from Georgia says Georgia flexes on number 1 Tennessee. Yeah, it was number 1 versus number 1. That was kind of cool. But Georgia that really shut down Hendon Hooker in the Heisman hype, and it really kind of changed the way that we look at the Heisman Trophy. It's wide open now. I don't even know who you would pick right now.
I don't know. I can't. I'm not even going to
pretend. People like
I'm not
Nix
even going to pretend to know
Yeah.
a name that jumps out to me for the Heisman. The Heisman this year is going to be, dare I say, very underwhelming. Like whoever ends up winning it is just going to be, oh yeah, we had to pick somebody.
Yeah.
Unless somebody steps up these last 3-4 weeks of the college football season, it's going to be really weird.
Well, and it could be like it kind of was last year, kind of going to the conference championship weekend. You've got like 2 or 3 names, and then whoever plays best there gets it. I mean, that's kind of what
you think it'll end up
often.
just between the people who were the favorites at the start of the season, just CJ and Bryce?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if Bryce Young is going to be able to put up enough numbers that he overwhelms you on a 2-loss team. But we'll see. Thomas and Lincoln says, haha, Rico, bleep Adrian Martinez, hook 'em horns.
Wow, that's rude.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, that game could have been a lot worse. He did lead them back into it. And then, as Adrian has done many a time before here at Nebraska, fumbled late in the game in a crucial situation.
Yeah, that was how Nebraska loses. At least Kansas State, they're still ranked and they're having a good season, but they have to at least feel our pain and why we
see. Now it's going to be
Adrian Martinez.
Now it's going to be weird because it's like, okay, do we go back to the backup? Do we stick with our starter? I don't know. Your backup led you to a fantastic victory over Oklahoma State, and then your starter comes in and you lose to Texas. Is Texas better than Oklahoma State? I don't think so, but
they might be. Oklahoma State also had another tough weekend.
Rolled. Yeah,
so I don't know
they lost.
Where they're at. 7233 says, so sick of the SEC bias. Stop assuming because they play in the SEC that they're better than anyone else. So he agrees with you, Rico. Well, Kiduba guy says, Rico, are you new to college football?
No, I'm not.
So
I understand. I'm just going to be angry every year.
Yeah.
It's going to be angry about it every year.
Space Cadet hates the SEC bias as much as you, Rico. Don't worry.
Thank you.
And then 4037 says, good thing the AP poll doesn't mean much anymore because of the playoff committee. We'll see where they put Clemson. And another reminder, the playoff committee is going to do something a little bit crazy to get us talking because
Yeah.
that's kind of their job right now.
Alabama number 6.
Yeah, Alabama might drop to number 7 this week, and then that'll get Rico going.
I don't know. Like, I understand that the SEC is the best conference in football. Like, I'm not denying that. They're really good. They're fantastic. But just because you play in the SEC doesn't mean that you're just automatically better than everybody else.
Yeah, not automatically, but you do get the benefit of the doubt, I think, at this.
Because there's like the middle of the road SEC teams, and you take middle of the road, Big Ten teams, and people are just like, oh yeah, the SEC team. I'm like, well, why? Like, oh, they play in the SEC. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
doesn't mean they're better.
Well, and a reminder too, you especially when those bowl games come up, it's always been that the Big Ten travels to warm city, play SEC. They're in their perfect style of football. When the Big Ten, a lot of these teams are building based around. It's going to be windy. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be awful one day. So, it's kind of interesting. I don't deny the SEC either, but
give me Alabama late November in the Big House.
Yes,
I want to see it.
I would want to see that.
I want to see it. I want to see what you're really made out of. I understand that they go to the NFL and they play in cold weather for a lot of the season for some of those teams. But if you're telling me that Alabama is going to go up to Michigan or Ohio State in the horseshoe in late November when it's 10 degrees out and there's snow falling, and they're going to be able to put up their 60 points or whatever because of how fast they are and how dominant they are down south in Tuscaloosa. Don't give me that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see eventually that happen. That's probably not going to. Bowl games, as we know it altogether, are probably going to be dead in a few years.
Those SEC teams will never come up north for games.
No,
they won't. They'll be like, oh, let's play a neutral site. Let's play at a dome. Well, we'll play you in Indianapolis. We're like, no, let's play in Chicago. All right.
Which someone got buried too over the weekend, or I guess that was even Friday, was that Nebraska tinkering with a Las Vegas game. What do you think about that in the future?
I'm interested, depending on not depending on who they play. I'm interested. It's Vegas. I've never been.
Yeah. Haven't you?
No, never been. I want to go.
Yeah.
And I'll go for a football game.
Absolutely. You can go for 2. The Raiders are there.
Ah, perfect. Playing in the spaceship.
Yeah. And if you really want to, UNLV plays there too. And I've bet games and went and watched.
Yeah, let me watch some running Rebels.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I'll watch basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch UNLV football.
Football needs a few years more.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch UNLV football.
Christian and Lincoln says, if Mickey gets the job, does that mean everyone else told Trev no?
No.
I don't think that's what it means, but at this point, it is difficult, I guess, to envision. Maybe it's just because all the rumors going around last week.
And also, even if that is true, I think that's a terrible way to look at it. Like, I think that's terrible where you get a new head coach and you're just like, wow, obviously everyone else said no. That's the only reason we're stuck with this guy. That is a terrible way to look at things. You knew he's going to be your new head coach. I understand you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to support him regardless. Yeah, but you're going to say that. That doesn't seem like a lot of support.
It does feel like the names have kind of shifted from the early, the Midwest, Lance Leipold and Chris Klayman and our hopes for Urban Meyer. Now it's kind of just shifted to this to
the actual people who you can maybe possibly
get. Like more realistic guys that are probably looking for
I feel like you could get Lance Leipold or Chris Klayman, but Chris Klayman and Lance Leipold are both having great seasons where they're at currently.
Yeah.
And depending on how they feel about the Big 12 and their current situations, I don't see them leaving. And especially Leipold's been there for his second year. He's not going to leave. I think he's happy at Kansas.
We'll see.
Plus, he get a statue built to him if he has if he goes back-to-back winning seasons, he gets a statue.
Yeah, it's miraculous what he's doing at Kansas, and they had a little bit of a losing streak, so people kind of thought, he's out of the race or whatever. They're bowl eligible at Kansas, which of course means that Nebraska has the longest drought among the Power 5 of going to a bowl.
Because Vanderbilt went last year,
right? Did they? I mean, they've gone in the recent since 2017 or whatever. So just add that to the list of embarrassment for Nebraska. But I am interested to see where this takes, and you know what? Mickey might be down this week, but one victory in Ann Arbor, and he might shoot right back up to the ring. So
see, and my thing is, if you are going outside for the hire, my thought process is you might want to announce it this week, but at the same time, that's a little hard because you're announcing that before they have to go to the Big House and play in Ann Arbor. But at the same time, mess around and have somebody lined up, and then Mickey Joseph and this team goes up to Ann Arbor and wins, and you're like, all right, congratulations, beating the number 4 team in the country. By the way, you're not the next head coach, and that's your first top 25 win in God knows how long.
Yeah.
Your first top 10 win in God knows how long, and you're just like, congratulations, we're not going with you.
Yeah, I mean, and it's unlikely, but we can hope. And the other thing, but it's just kind of interesting to see as this all plays out. Mickey's admitted before, at times, because he understands the situation he's in, it would really help his cause to get a few wins. And of course, they did get 2, but it is kind of getting to that point, especially when the decision making has to start being made.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the last kind of haymaker he can throw, because by the time Wisconsin and Iowa's around, you really want to zero in on what you're doing.
Exactly.
And if he hasn't got enough wins, then it kind of is where it is there. Now, again, to your point, though, if they're hiring somebody who is an active head coach, they're going to have to wait.
You're going to have to wait. And talk and hype only gets you so far if you're Mickey Joseph. You do have to, get some wins under your belt and kind of force the hand of the decision makers to look at what you're doing with this Husker team and say, hey, look, I've rallied the troops. I've gathered the guys. We've won a couple of games. We've become, if you can, become bowl eligible under me in a season that everybody looked at as pretty much a throwaway season when it began, because you decided to stick with Scott Frost after last season's debacle of well, they're close. Well, they almost won that game. Oh, they're the best 3-win team ever in history.
Yeah.
But you still only won 3 games. So Mickey Joseph is going to have to get some wins. And if he doesn't, then, wherever the athletic department decides to go with a head coaching search, then you kind of sit back and wonder if that head coach decides to keep Mickey Joseph on and what his role will be and how much he's going to get paid, because he's going to demand a pretty hefty salary for. I understand that the wins haven't come, but the ability to keep this team together, continue to recruit, and get some commitments out of this weird season is extremely commendable and very impressive for Mickey Joseph.
Well, it is interesting too, Jimmy, just because of maybe his, and I know you hate this, but his lack of history, lack of being a head coach at this level. You wonder if there are somehow able to retain him. And because they have not won so many games, maybe there's less of that feeling of looking over your shoulder and saying, well, everybody wants Mickey. Well, if Mickey goes on to go 2-5 here or whatever, maybe that's less of the case than if he were able to put up more of a fight. So maybe all this is going to be good in the long run, because you can keep Mickey Joseph and everything that he brings, which is a lot, to Nebraska with the next coach. But of course, we'll let that play out. Just somebody texted in about it. So it's kind of interesting. It's always interesting, kind of in the backdrop of the season, is where the coaching hire is going. Ryan from Nashville says, well, he says a few things. He's going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Said we never have a backup worth a darn. It's talking about the quarterback. I think Sam McEwen wrote an article about this too. It's been a while since Nebraska's really had, and I think he even named some names: the Bobby Newcombs, the Joe Gans, the Brooke Behringers, going even back to basically Taylor Martinez. It was basically his job, and then Tommy is just his job, and there's nobody there, and then it just kind of kept going.
If this person gets hurt, who do you have behind him? Well, we didn't think that far.
Ryan says a bunch of Riker 5s year after year. Hey, Riker 5 got in. Rifle 5 got in there.
Riker 5 alone.
Threw the ball around, but I get what he's saying, and he's also went on a talk. I don't want to. I'll just wrap it up by saying he's getting frustrated with the season. He said he might not even turn in the show anymore. Nothing to do with us. It's just a frustration.
I get you,
being
Ryan.
a Husker fan.
It's understandable.
A lot of people are getting frustrated, but
hey, but keep tuning in.
Yeah, keep tuning in. And hey, I say this about Husker basketball, and it implies to Husker football. Any day with Husker basketball is better than a day without it. Any day with Husker football on, I don't care. I went to the stadium, got a picture with Goldie. I had some fun.
Of course you did. You always get pictures with the opposing mascot.
Yeah, I'm trying to collect more mascots in my picture collection.
Weird guy.
And Goldie, but that's one you can respect. He's one of the creators of your favorite trophy, the $5 chair trophy.
I actually kind of like Goldie.
Yeah, Goldie's cool.
I do. Purdue Pete though can go kick rocks. He's scary.
He's
scary looking.
Yeah,
guy.
He scares the children.
Their train broke down. We should have known they weren't going to win.
Oh yeah. Tyler says, by MJ not forcing some play type changes, he is failing just as bad as Whipple. To say MJ didn't hire Whipple, it should be that much easier for MJ to step in then. There's I think that is also going to assessing of Joseph is kind of Whipple being able to rein him in. Again, I don't I don't blame Whipple as much for this offense, or in certain play calls, absolutely. But I mean, overall game plan, I think they did what they needed to do. I'm glad they didn't go out there thinking they had Casey Thompson. They adjusted. We're trying to kind of win a rock fight.
It seemed that a couple of times where they were where it was just a Casey Thompson offense with a different quarterback. And although you did run the ball, let me see if I can find this. You ran the ball 21 times with Anthony Grant. I feel at times that you should have just kept pounding with him. You should have just kept riding him and seeing where he could take you, because especially in that first quarter, that first half, he was rolling. And then it seemed as if you went away from the running game and started trying to pass the ball around because you believed that Minnesota was trying to stop your running game. Turns out your quarterbacks couldn't get the ball to your receivers anyways. So it was just a hodgepodge of a mess. And as everyone knows, 6 3-and-outs. Couldn't get a first down to save your life in the third quarter.
Yeah, well, but also I think you have to look at the fact there is somebody else coaching on the other sideline. PJ Fleck announced after the game, or was talking after the game, saying they didn't prepare for that first drive. Basically, it was a bunch of stuff that they weren't preparing for when playing Nebraska. Credit Mickey Joseph and those guys for that. But after that first drive, you take out the 6 carries for 60 yards for Anthony Grant. The rest of the way had 15 carries for 55 yards. So it's, I know everybody's saying, well, he's getting 5 yards a carry. Well, after the first drive, he wasn't. Now, just under 4 is not awful either, but I'll say this again, and I was saying this on the captain show. For those 6 3-and-outs, it's not like they went pass, punt not once. They ran the ball every one of those possessions at least once. Keep in mind, they only get 3 play calls in the 3-and-out. So total, they ran the ball 7 times for 14 yards, 6 of those carries for Grant for 13 yards. The running game wasn't working either. That was part of the problem.
I know. And
I understand you want to stick to it, and that's kind of how the running game goes at times. You're preaching to the choir. I love the running game. Don't get me wrong. I just, sometimes it's easy to blame the play caller, and I thought this at times with Scott Frost too. But you're very limited by what you have out there, and specifically at quarterback in this case. I'm not as mad at play calling with Whipple. I'm more thinking that Logan should have got a look earlier, and I think it's pretty clear at this point.
You think after 3 3-and-outs, maybe you decide to make a change.
Well, and they did. I mean, Logan got in there and got a 3-and-out too, and Oliver dropped one, which was also kind of weird, the timing they did it, because they brought him in when they were at the 8-yard line. It's like, well, maybe that's not the time to switch quarterbacks. So, I mean, there's a lot of critiquing that goes in here, but again, I think that the bigger problem with Whipple in this game was not play calling. It was not making the move to switch to quarterback earlier. Mickey Joseph kind of said that himself. But, there's just a lot of thought that go on there. I'm not completely convinced that Logan, though he played better this game, was going to score a whole lot more than what you ended up with Purdy if he played the whole game.
That's true. But I mean, at some point you have to look at what isn't working on the field, and that was Chubba Purdy being in at quarterback. I mean, the receivers and the tight ends were dropping their fair amount of passes. Don't get me wrong. They weren't playing the greatest, and they'll be the first ones to tell you that. They were upset with themselves as well. But at some point, you have to look at your signal caller and just think, maybe he needs to change. Maybe he needs to sit down and get his mind right. And I mean, they did that for one drive with Logan Smothers, and I think you got to give him more of a chance to get warmed up and get going.
Well, and I'm not going to be surprised to see if Casey can't go this week. I think at this point, 2 games now, you've seen it. Logan seems to provide you more of a spark on offense, so I think he would start against Michigan, but we'll still see. We'll take a quick break. Got one more segment here on the Ticket Water Cooler right before happy hour opens up, so we'll do that coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Crazy. You had to know that when Wingstop set out to make a crispy, juicy chicken sandwich, they wouldn't make it in just one flavor. They'd make it in all 12, like lemon pepper, mango habanero, hickory smoked barbecue, and OG hot. So why have one new favorite chicken sandwich when you can have 12? Try the new sauced and tossed Wingstop chicken sandwich today for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Valid for a limited time and available at participating Wingstop locations only while supplies last. Price subject to applicable taxes and fees.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hey guys, Nick Sadert here, and I want to tell you about my friends at Spine and Sports Chiropractic. I experienced a herniated disc in my lower back a few years ago, and thanks to the folks at Spine and Sports, I got back to feeling 100%. At Spine and Sports, they use the active release technique, which involves the soft tissue and can alleviate headaches, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, and more. What I like most about the ART method is that your doctor will construct a plan that fits your needs because the technique is not a cookie-cutter approach. Allow Spine and Sports Chiropractic to help you feel better. Set up your appointment today by giving them a call at 402-261-6841.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy Veterans Day. We are thankful for those who served our great nation and gave their lives to defend this country, which should never be taken for granted. This important message comes to you from Bart, Mike, and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialist here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go big Brandt.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you can earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul and Gato Comedy Syndicate present Big Comedy Energy November 11th and 12th, featuring headliner Corbin LeMaster.
Like, if you don't know, cultural appropriation is like, if you're not black, you can't have cornrows. If you're not Asian, you can't use chopsticks. If you're white, you can't score a touchdown.
4 shows November 11th and 12th at 7 and 9:30 at Mary Ellen's at 27th and Pine Lake. Tickets are $15 in advance or $25 at the door. For more information, find the event on the Mary Ellen's page on Facebook. Tractor Supply is looking for full-time team members for their Waverly Distribution Center. Tractor Supply has a new progressive pay model where team members receive 5 wage increases in the first 2 years of employment with the ability to earn up to $24 per hour. Applicants can expect a 3- and 4-day work week schedule with additional overtime days with both day and night shift schedules available. At Tractor Supply, they work hard, have fun, and make money. Apply today at tractorsupply.jobs.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Back to the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Wingstop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're wrapping up things here on the Ticket Water Cooler. I'm Jake Bakoven. He is Enrique Alvarez-Clary, better known as Rico. And give you an update here on Nebraska women opening up their season. Of course, they're top 25 Nebraska women, number 22 in the nation. Third quarter just starting. Nebraska up 44-19 on Omaha, who I think still wants to be called by Omaha. I was told years ago they don't want to be called UNO anymore.
Not UNO anymore, just Omaha. Currently, your leading scorer for Nebraska, Izzy Bourne with 13 points. Leading rebounder would be Allison Widener with 6. Let's see. Assists-wise, Kendall Coley, 3 assists. And a lot of players with 1 block, while Jazz Shelley leads the team in steals with 4. There you go.
Yeah.
8 bench points, 26 in the paint. Look at
go.
Nebraska putting in work.
Yeah, and especially with the team they're playing against Omaha, expecting to just kind of warm up, get things going, and hopefully that's the same for Nebraska men's basketball tonight. They take on Maine, who won 6 games last year. Should be a season opening victory for Nebraska.
Should be.
You never necessarily know. It's going. If you're a tired Husker fan, just tired of the coaching search stuff, tired of all the hot seat talk. Welcome to Husker basketball, where you'll probably get the same thing throughout the season.
Where it's not going to get any better.
There's no break.
Hopefully, though, you don't have to go through a coaching search during the season.
Right. And hopefully not after the season. I think it's just a weird position as a Nebraska basketball fan where it's like, we want to get, if the season doesn't feel like, hey, make it to 500 in the Big Ten, or hey, get to the NIT, those typical, not asking too much, but Nebraska basketball asks
that's a lot
before the season. This season, I don't even think you have that. I think if Fred Hoiberg wants to be retained, it just feels like he's got to get a team that plays complementary basketball together, a group that you believe, a few of those guys can come back and kind of set the foundation moving forward. What that means is total wins or stuff like that. I think it's got to be better than the 9 or 10 that they've been scraping out the last couple of years, but I don't know how much more. I mean, I don't think you're asking a whole lot of Nebraska basketball this year.
It's going to be really hard to convince the fan base to bring Fred Hoiberg back if he can't go at least 500 in the Big Ten. I understand the Big Ten's a hard basketball conference, but just 500, just win half of your games. I mean, that's going to be hard to convince somebody. And I mean, look, if I looked you in the eyes and I said, all right, Fred Hoiberg won 6 games in the Big Ten, is that good enough for you?
I think that's about better than what their prospects are.
In year 4?
It's plan B though. I mean, this is kind of different assistant coaches. It's not, hey, this guy's going to lead you to the top, or we're going to play to get this guy to the NBA. I think that I honestly think that that's going to be good enough for Nebraska basketball. Now you can't go through, what you have to watch out for is those long, like 8-9 game losing streaks in the Big Ten. But Rico, to go 500 in the Big Ten is a huge ask for Nebraska basketball. They've gone over 500 in conference play twice under 10 miles since Danny Nee. So I'm talking about since like the last 23 years, they've gone over 500 in conference play twice. I think Doc got 500 once. So again, that would be a big ask, and you definitely retain Hoiberg.
So let's look at this. I'm going to go to the non-conference. And any Power 5 opponent, Power 6 opponents, I'm just going to give them a loss.
Okay.
So we're just going to do that. We're just going to say they lose to them, whatever. So 2-1, 3-2, and then you have your little tournament where you don't really expect them to beat anybody. You have Oklahoma, and then the winner of Memphis at Seton Hall.
Yeah.
And then, if you make it to the championship game or whatever, to be announced. They're going to win. So far, I'm at 3. They have 3, 4, 5, 6 wins before conference play.
Yeah, well, that's not the easiest conference, but one of those is tonight.
And then you win, and then let's say they win 6 games in conference. They finish the season with 12 wins.
Yeah.
And you're gonna say, well, that's good enough.
I think maybe. I think maybe that's where you're at.
Jake Bakoven.
I'm
Be
not
real with yourself.
Maybe not 12, but 13 might do it. I'm thinking 13 wins in this season. That's a step forward for Coach Hoiberg and staff.
You got to be over 15.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how it plays out. But one way or the other, we hope that Nebraska basketball looks better, looks more like a team. They've kind of got there at the end of last season. And then, of course, that was too little too late. Maybe Nebraska can get that going starting tonight. The big question is, where's Derek Walker? We don't know. It seems to be
Healthcare issue.
A healthcare issue.
Which is a weird way to phrase it.
Yeah, usually if it's an injury, the coach will just tell you. So to call it a healthcare issue is strange.
Or he's dealing with
Maybe
it.
we'll
with
figure that out.
Or he's just like, he's dealing with an injury.
Yeah.
But it's he's dealing with a healthcare issue. He will tell you when he's ready. It's a weird way to phrase it. I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't know if you can even look into it without talking to Derek, but I don't think he's talking anytime soon. So.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't necessarily expect him to be playing out there tonight, but maybe he will. We'll see, and we're going to have a post-game show tonight, too, to open it up. So very excited for that. Husker basketball, I'll say it once again, any day with Husker basketball is better day without it, unless there's Husker football on, because I like that, too. So that'll wrap it up for the Ticket Water Cooler. We have Happy Hour coming up next year, right here on 93.7 The Ticket. For myself, I'll see you tonight for Husker basketball postgame.